My name is Malik Whitaker, and I am from Columbia, South Carolina. Hello, neighbor.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Incarceration is becoming our only urban policy. We have over 2 million of our citizens are in prison, mostly people of color. With things like racial profiling and unequal sentences, it is destroying communities of color, destroying whole communities of color. Families are being destroyed. Families are being destroyed. So as a president, what would you do to end racial profiling, to end unequal sentencing, to bring forth equal justice for African Americans, Muslim Americans, African Americans, and immigrants in this country?
Well, thank you, first of all. And I'm glad to see a young man from Columbia. I was born in South Carolina. I know all about South Carolina. And I know you know what I'm talking about when I talk about growing up in the South. You know it very well. I think we have enormous work to do to end the disparities. I've already talked about the fact that as President of the United States, we will aggressively ensure that racial profiling ends in the United States of America. Second, we're going to do something about these mandatory minimum sentences. How long does it take for America to understand that we can't build enough prisons to solve this problem? The problem is one of opportunity, fairness, equality. It's about creating jobs in poor communities. It's about real universal health care for every man, woman, and child in America. It's about raising the minimum wage, not just to $7.25 an hour, but to $9.50 an hour, which is where it ought to be. It's about strengthening the right of unions to organize so that working people can actually support their families. It's about changing the laws to get rid of the disparity between crack and powder cocaine that has a direct impact on the African American community. And then finally, it's about creating an infrastructure for success so that if in fact a young man or young woman has a brush with the law, that we actually help them turn their lives around. How can we be surprised when somebody gets into trouble, goes into prison, comes out, and we send them right back to the same environment that got them in trouble to start with? We need to help them with drug and alcohol counseling and rehabilitation. We need to help them with job training. We need to help them with education. We need to do all the things that support them and support their families. It is America's moral obligation to do that if we believe in an equal and just America.
Thank you so much, Senator. We have one final question for you, Senator Edwards. If you were elected President of the United States, would you agree to a meeting during your first 100 days with a delegation of representatives from the Campaign for Community Values?
Yes, I'll do it in the first week.
First week commitment.
Is this my last response?
Yes.
All right, I want to say something to this group. I want you to know that what all of you work on and devote your lives to so much of your lives to, is the cause of my life. You know, whatever happens in politics, I believe so deeply in our moral responsibility to first end the suffering of 37 million people who wake up every day worried about feeding and clothing their children, to do something about 35 million people who in the richest nation on the planet last year went hungry, to do something about 47 million Americans who are worried sick their child is going to get sick and they'll have to go to the emergency room for health care. This is the great moral responsibility that we face. Not just politics, not just an election. The question is, will we leave America and the world better than we found it? It is not just an election in politics. It is the great moral test for our generation. With your help and as your president, we will meet that test. God bless you all. Thank you for what you do. Such a privilege to be here with you. Thank you all very much.